This is Immanuel coming in from Augusta, Georgia. I just wanted to talk about something I was thinking about last week. I did a video last week, and I talked. One of the things I talked about is, for example, you look at this chord. If we were to properly name this chord, this is a C major 13 chord. This is a C major 13 because it has the first, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, the 11th, the 13th. And once again, I have the octave again. You don't really count that. You don't call that the 15th or anything. Okay? So that's a C major 13th. And I was talking about that chord and saying that you can use a lot of chords and you can actually leave out, notes when you're actually, chording a certain song. For example, if I were to play a C chord, instead of playing that C major chord, I can a lot of times just substitute a G chord, which, once again, that's in that major 13th chord. So, and if I look at it a different way, I'm actually removing notes from all the notes that I could possibly play to play whatever chord that I want to play. And, if you were watching another video, you also saw me and of course you can go beyond that and actually use other chords, major or minor chords with those chords. And that's something you should try to do. Just, instead of just going diatonically, in other words, in the scale, you can also just go, okay, I'm going to pick major chords to go with that bass chord. And if you like it, then use it. And that might be even something you might want to use at the end of a song, like, but as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the fact that really, you can really expand on that concept, so you don't even use the C at all. For example, I can voice a C major chord like this. And if you notice, there's no C. I have an E, a G, a B, a D, a G, and a B. And so I'm kind of making a C ninth chord, right? Major 7th, ninth. I got the fifth up here, and the major 7th again. Okay. I could even go further if I wanted to, and if I may not want that chord, but I can basically not use that C. And I thought about this concept of the invisible hand, or the visible, the note that you kind of have in your head, right? I'm voicing this chord like this, but that bass note that I'm not playing makes it a C chord. And this is something I thought about because a lot of times I like to play and I'm not sure how you normally play. Maybe you always play, maybe you already play like that, where you don't actually have a concept of what the chord is because you don't play that bass note. Depending on how you came into playing music, you may be playing like this already. And that's your C chord, you know what I'm saying? You may never know why. You may play that at the beginning of a song. Okay, now with a series of chords that I played, you may say, oh well, that's the top of the end of the phrase or whatever. However, it's a C chord because that bass, And like I said, I kind of think of it as the invisible hand, that third hand that you don't have. If you're an organist, you probably already know, because that's what your foot is probably playing. If you play with a bass player, you may not be cognizant of it, but they're probably playing that note while you're playing that chord. And so just one thing to kind of keep in mind, you may even want to and all those chords, what I did is I did not play the bass note at the bottom of my left hand. So once again, got an E at the bottom here, but that's the chord I'm playing. It's a C major chord. Okay, I got an F chord with an A minor chord over here, right? But that's the chord that I'm actually playing. Okay. Okay, and so you see how, like, you know, before I actually play that bass note, you can't really have a good idea of where that fits in the context, unless you're playing with other musicians or in the context of a song, you can hear it. But a lot of times that's what happens, and I think it's useful to know, even if you're not playing in those chords, that that's really what's going on, because then you can actually, from that, you know, I kind of think of a tree example. Like, this is the base of your tree. All this stuff up here are your limbs and branches and everything, and you can really put a lot of, you know, a lot of leaves, and, you know, if you want to call the notes leaves, and the chords that you're playing in your right hand, branches and twigs and whatnot. I'm kind of getting like a little crazy on you, but this is your bass, and so your bass note determines what your chord is, and actually helps you to make substitutions, because if you're trying to make substitutions off of this, you may get yourself to a point where you're kind of limited, because you don't really know, first off, what chord are you playing, you know, because this looks like a E minor chord, you know, out of context, unless you know that you're playing a C major chord or a C major substitution. So that's just something I wanted to share, and hope that helps. Talk to you later.